The Department for Work and Pensions is under growing pressure to compensate thousands of disabled people who were unfairly left behind by the universal credit system. And for some, that compensation could be worth over £5,000. But time is running out, and the government has quietly set a final deadline of September to resolve the last wave of cases. This is a major payout, involving up to £452 million in backdated payments to benefit claimants who lost their severe disability premium and, in some cases, their enhanced disability premium too when they were moved over from the old legacy benefits system to universal credit. The decision comes after years of delays, legal battles, and widespread hardship faced by some of the most vulnerable people in the UK welfare system. And for around 13,000 people, the fight for justice still isn't over. Let's rewind. The controversy began when tens of thousands of disabled people were switched from legacy benefits like income support and employment and support allowance onto the new universal credit system. But in that transfer, something critical went missing: the severe disability premium. It was a vital component of the old system, offering extra financial support to those who lived alone or had no one to care for them. And when that money disappeared, the consequences were devastating. Some people saw their income drop by up to £180 a month overnight. Imagine that. You're disabled, living on the edge financially, and then just like that the DWP moves you to a new system and slices hundreds of pounds off your monthly income. No warning. No safeguards. No justice. Eventually, the government admitted it had made a mistake. But that admission didn't come easily. It took a major court case and two brave claimants, identified only as TP and AR, to challenge the system. They took their case to the High Court with the help of law firm Lee Day. And what the court found was damning: the government had failed in its duty to protect these claimants' incomes during the rollout of universal credit. That ruling triggered the creation of what's now known as the SDP Gateway, a temporary protection that prevented those receiving severe disability premium from being moved to universal credit until a fairer system could be put in place. But by then, the damage was done. Thousands had already been transferred and were left worse off for years. Now, in what appears to be a final reckoning, the DWP is working through the long process of paying those people back. A spokesperson for the department confirmed that the majority, about 44,000 out of 57,000 affected individuals, have already received their backdated payments. But around 13,000 complex cases remain unresolved. These are people whose circumstances were less straightforward, whose paperwork is harder to process, or whose claims might involve additional complications. But make no mistake, the money is owed. And the clock is ticking. The DWP has stated clearly that it is aiming to wrap up all remaining cases by September. That's just weeks away. After years of waiting, this is the final deadline for the government to make things right. The scale of the issue is staggering. According to official figures, the total cost of this repayment exercise is now estimated at £452 million. And individual payments have been as high as £5,000, money that could mean the difference between heating or eating, between independence or reliance, for thousands of disabled people who were left to fend for themselves. So, what does this mean for you? If you were moved from legacy benefits like income support, income-based job seekers allowance, or income-related ESA to universal credit before 2021, and you lost your severe disability premium or enhanced disability premium in the process, you could be entitled to this backdated compensation. Even if you're not sure whether you were affected, it's vital to check. This is not an automatic process for everyone. Many claimants have already received letters from the DWP informing them of what they are owed. But others are still waiting. If you believe you might be eligible, or if you're unsure, it's crucial to contact the DWP and ask them to review your case before the September deadline passes. For many of the claimants involved, this isn't just about money. It's about dignity. It's about being recognized and compensated for a mistake that should never have happened in the first place. The universal credit transition was supposed to simplify and modernize the benefits system. But for thousands of disabled people, it became a nightmare of lost income, confusion, and bureaucratic indifference. It's worth remembering that the High Court ruling didn't just award compensation, it also criticized the DWP for failing to anticipate the hardship that would come from removing severe disability premiums. This wasn't just an oversight. It was a systemic failure, and one that left many of the most vulnerable members of society to suffer in silence. Now, at long last, justice is being served. But only for those who come forward in time. The DWP has said, "We are fully committed to identifying claimants that are owed arrears and providing the financial support to which they are entitled as quickly as possible, with the majority of these cases having already been resolved. We are clear that errors like this one should not happen and have already taken action to avoid future errors." That's the official line. But for those still waiting, it may ring hollow. The truth is, many of these claimants have been left in limbo for years, waiting for the system to catch up, waiting for the justice they deserve, and in many cases, suffering in silence. Some have fallen into debt. Others have struggled with housing, food, or mental health as a result of the financial shortfall. And for a few, the compensation may come too late. So here's what you need to do. If you or someone you care for were receiving a severe or enhanced disability premium and were moved to universal credit between 2013 and 2021, contact the DWP immediately. Ask whether your case is being reviewed. If you've already received a letter, make sure you respond. If not, push for clarity. And if you've been told your case is one of the complex ones, don't let it fall through the cracks. The September deadline is fast approaching, and once it passes, your chance at fair compensation could vanish for good. As we move closer to the September deadline, it's worth looking at how we got here and what this says about the way the welfare state is currently functioning. Because while this story is focused on one particular issue, the loss of the severe disability premium, it's just one piece of a much larger puzzle. A puzzle that, for too long, has been riddled with gaps, oversights, and cracks through which too many people have fallen. This case, involving over 57,000 disabled benefit claimants, exposed more than just an error. It revealed a failure of design and absence of safeguards. The DWP moved forward with a major rollout of universal credit without fully understanding the consequences of removing disability-related premiums. And when the backlash came, it took legal action to force the government to listen. The fact that this situation escalated to the High Court shows how broken the system had become for some claimants. People like TP and AR, who were brave enough to stand up, challenge the government, and demand accountability, helped change the course of policy for tens of thousands of others. But it shouldn't have required a courtroom battle just to ensure basic fairness. Think about it, the universal credit system was designed to be simpler and more streamlined. But in that simplification, the complexity of disability-related needs was overlooked. Premiums like SDP and EDP were never optional bonuses, they were essential income supports, carefully calibrated to reflect the real-world costs of living with a disability. Removing them without a plan was never just a glitch, it was a catastrophic miscalculation. And even now, years later, the fallout is still being cleaned up. £452 million, that's the price tag on this error. It's a number that reflects just how widespread and damaging the issue really was. But more than the number itself, it's what that money represents: food on the table, heating in winter, mobility aids, transport, mental health support, things that many disabled people rely on just to survive day to day. This issue is part of a wider pattern of DWP errors and underpayments that have come to light in recent years. From pension underpayments to miscalculations in benefit transitions, the system has too often failed those who rely on it most. In each case, it's the most vulnerable who pay the price. But this time, there's a chance to set things right. And if the government stays true to its word, tens of thousands of people could finally see justice. But only if the pressure stays on, and only if people speak up and claim what they are owed. This is your money. Your support. Your right. And after everything that's happened, it's the least you deserve. Stay informed. Stay alert.